Welcome to Paranormal Universe. Hello, welcome back to Paranormal Universe. I'm your host, Chris.
And I am Tina.
And this is episode 3. Today we're going to have an episode about an alien and a djinn. That sounds like the beginning of a interesting joke. An alien and a djinn walk into a bar.
Yes, it does.
What happens after that? I'm going to write a joke. Actually, send me your jokes about an alien and a djinn. This story that I'm going to read is the djinn / paranormal encounter. This guy doesn't know whether or not it was a djinn or just something paranormal, but either way, we're just going to let you hear it and you decide. I got back not too long ago and thought I'd share my experiences. We get into the country and it's nothing big, just doing our jobs in the desert. Due to the nature of my job / mission, I was confined to the FOB. I worked nights the entire tour, so my work hours were 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. As you can imagine, I slept during the day. The base was a premier duty station for the Iraqi military. It was built in the 1970s to 1980s to accommodate the expanding army under Saddam's rule. So Gulf War 91 happens, and we bombed it out. In 2003, we invade again and bombed it out. Then it was occupied until 2011, when it was given back to Iraqis. There were countless suicides or combat-related deaths from years of surge and peak insurgency. In 2014, it was bombed out again because ISIS overtook it and was using it as a death camp. Olympic swimming pools on location were full of bodies, and there was a steamroller used for running people over. That's
savage.
Yeah. 2014 till now, it's occupied by Iraqi army. So as you can imagine, this could be a hotbed of stuff. The first encounter was about a month into tour, and I was dead asleep in my room. We slept in a 6x6 with a roommate. I was fortunate to never see him since we had opposite shifts. I was racked out with my back to the center of the room, and I woke up to a slight touch or grab to the back of my arm. I rolled over and see what was roughly a 6-foot-tall black shadow standing a few feet away from me. I wear glasses, and my vision is absolutely awful, so assuming it was one of my soldiers waking me up, I put on my glasses and rolled back over to face it, but nothing was there. I was so tripped out, I got a hold of my roommate, and he chalks it up to some bad dream, and so do I. 2 months go by, and everything seemed normal. I went to work at 9, left my roommate alone. Taking advantage of being alone, he engaged in some special solo time.
Hey.
Everybody needs special solo time. After finishing, he sits up to clean himself and heads to the shower. The ambient light off his headlamp lights up my end of the room. He notices something out of the corner of his eye and looks to see what he said was a, quote, big-ass guy with his feet hanging off your bed, and it was all black. So pretty much a big shadow dude laying in my twin-sized bed. He froze for a second, then fight or flight hit him, but after looking away to flip the light switch, it was gone. So he believed me after that and thought it wasn't just a dream. We told our platoon sergeant at Chow the next day, and he was amused and interested. He's a believer in the paranormal and decided to speak his part. According to him, at this point in the tour, which was about 3 months in, he'd seen someone leave my rooms at odd times in the middle of the day, the times that I'm sleeping, and walk to the room across from us. The thing with the room across is that it had a padlocked plywood door and was locked because the guys who slept there were in Syria, so some of their gear they left behind was still in there. You can't get in that room without hopping the plywood walls. So that was the extent of the creepy stuff with my living space. I don't think it was a djinn, but maybe it was. My interpreter said it probably was, since it kept getting close to me and manifested physically. It's creepy.
It is.
Okay, so occurrence number 2 was weird, ominous stuff. Taking a shit in the porta-johns at night, you'd hear footsteps or whispers around you. Now, you're in a shitter next to a watchtower that's about 150 to 300 meters away from another group of soldiers at 3 a.m. Nobody is awake to fuck with you except the other guy in the tower, and he can't abandon his watch since he's covering. Occurrence number 3. I attended a sleep aid class with medics and whatnot since I was having trouble sleeping soundly And in the group, there were soldiers waking up with bad dreams with scratches on them, some of them which were so bad they bled and it dried during their sleep. They discovered after they woke up to bloody sheets. They getting scratched up and
Yeah.
abused in their sleep. Okay, some more weird stuff. Entry point guys who man a big gate with obstacles would hear commotion like banging on the metal at the main gate at night and would go check it out. Nothing would come of it. Towers would report people walking in the open area around the perimeter at night. Some would notice something on their night vision or in the darkness once their eyes adjusted. But when the SOG, Sergeant on Guard, or other response elements would check it out, nothing would be there. A woman screaming was once reported from towers in the vicinity of a bombed-out bunker and an abandoned/half-destroyed building on the far end of the FOB. The SOG responded, and we had no personnel report an assault, and nobody came up missing or astray. Tower didn't report anyone in the area other than SOGs and relief around that time. So there's my spooky Iraq experience.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
There was. I don't know if it was like djinn activity. I still don't understand a djinn. I keep finding these sites and they're not really, most of them are saying it's a genie. I've never heard of a djinn.
And just real quick, for people who have not ever heard of a djinn, can you spell djinn the way it is actually spelled? Because I misspelled it the first time I had heard.
There's, I've seen just JINN. I've seen DJINN. I'm not really sure which one is the correct spelling. I type in DJINN and I get information. So I'm guessing, there's different spellings depending on what language or whatever. I'm not really 100% sure. But yeah, I try to research these things and it just seems like they're genies. Like I'm getting stories of a genie. So I'm thinking, when I think of the genie, I think of Genie from Aladdin running around fucking with people.
Yeah, when you say the word genie, that's what I think.
When I think of genie, I think of Robin Williams.
Yeah, when you're gonna rub your little lamp and make a few wishes and whatnot. I don't typically think of genies when we talk about paranormal. I didn't think about that until you read the story and mentioned that to me. I never would have put those two together. I would have to do a lot more research on that myself because that was not anything that I had heard of before. So if you all have heard or know a lot more about that, I would love to read those emails. Send them out there.
Let us know if you know anything more about the djinn. Again, I can't find anything other than these sites just simply saying it's an evil genie or a mischievous genie. I think it's a little bit more than that, considering that other cultures who believe in them are terrified of them. So obviously it's not something to play with or something nice. But yeah, you ready for your alien story?
Yeah, so there was a nurse, a deer, and an alien in a bar. And,
We need those bar jokes. Come on, hit us up with some bar jokes.
So this story is from Anonymous, submitted through Reddit. And it came in from, and she was a nurse. And as a nurse, I will say that you have a lot of patients that you see that they come and go in facilities. You take care of them, they pass away. And I have had patients where they've passed away and sometimes the spirits kind of stay around you. But this story right here, it's more so about she left work and she saw some interesting stuff when she got off of work.
Let's hear it.
So this one's called The Nurse, the Deer, and the Alien. She says, I hope I fell asleep at the wheel. I hope. This happened a few months ago. So I work as a nurse and started a new job 45 minutes away at a nursing home that pays well and has the shift that I want. The shift I normally work is weekend doubles, evening and overnights, a 16-hour day. Ooh, that's killer right there. You give up all of your weekends. But they needed me to work morning and evening this particular weekend, and I agreed, switching my sleep schedule as well. The night shift nurse who came to relieve me was late Sunday night. I was behind on charting anyway, so I didn't get upset. I was giving a report and heard a yelling. Resident on the floor. Well, that's never good. He was alert and aware and said that he fell. I noticed him wearing warm socks, but not the type of hospital socks with the grippy bottoms, the ones that we typically use to prevent falls. And he was sent to the ER due to his hip. More charting, state reportable if possibly broken. So I stayed to help the night shift nurse. She's a pecker with that keyboard, the kind of person that types with just one finger that click, 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 takes them forever to type. So get out of work at somewhere between 1 and 2 a.m., close to a 20-hour shift after a 17-hour shift the day before. I was dead on my feet, but I felt well enough to drive. My car is very tiny. I can't sleep in it. And my friend wouldn't answer the phone. So I take it that she was trying to call her friend so that she could have someone to talk to on the ride home. The way I go home has a lot of twists and turns. I travel by the lake and love the water, so it helps me stay awake. Instead of the shorter 40-minute path, I go past a small town, twists and turns and woods, listen to my book to keep me awake. That would put me to sleep.
Yeah, audiobooks I'd fall asleep.
Yeah, I would have been sitting sideways in a tree somewhere. About halfway home, noticed I left my glasses at work because I'm an idiot who puts them down to chart and didn't notice I can't see until I'm like, oh yeah, the world isn't supposed to be a little blurry. I do this a lot. At the next turn, there was a bright light, like a spotlight coming through the woods. I continue on a little bit further, still in the wooded area, and towards where the bright light is coming from. A bend in the road once more. On the side of the road where the night before I saw a hit deer was what looked to be a very thin man, skin-tight black clothes, kneeling over the deer that is still there with his back towards me. I thought he looked weird, but my glasses were gone and my eyes were starting to blur a little bit more. I remember thinking about the light, thinking about how they got their vehicle through the woods, but again, I was dead. I tried to pause my book and my car is slowed down, nearly stopped. The man starts to move from the deer. I roll my window down. That was no.
Yeah, I would have hit the gas.
Anyway, she says I started to roll my window down and ask, is everything okay? You need any help? Not really looking at him. I thought maybe it was a different deer and he hit it. I'm about 15 to 20 or so feet in front of them. My car is stopped at this point. I'm still trying to get my book to stop. My touchscreen radio isn't working well. Go figure. So I pick up my phone and stop my book. I really look up towards the man after looking away from my phone and realize that he or she really isn't human. I freeze. It stood up and faced me. The head is huge, like they describe aliens to be, with huge black eyes, except it is tall, not a tiny little thing like they show on TV. It starts to walk towards my car, and I can't breathe. I can't move. I felt like I couldn't even think. Everything just felt like it froze. I heard a voice, but not mine, that sounded like it just was in my head and said, sleep. Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
I blink. It is gone along with the deer. I looked at my clock, and it's almost 4 a.m. Now, she left work sometime between, 1 and 2?
Yeah, she said between 1 and 2.
And it is now 4. My car is in park, and now I am pulled over with no memory of doing so. My window is still down. I look at my phone, which is still in my hand. I open it, and my book is still stopped in the same place. At least he had the courtesy and decency to park her car for her. Maybe he's a
car in the middle.
Maybe he's a gentleman.
He's a gentle alien.
I tried to call my sister, but she wouldn't answer. And she puts in parentheses, asleep. So I called my job. They answered. I asked about my glasses and the resident. I eventually tell her I fell asleep and wanted to talk to someone, so it didn't happen again. And everyone is asleep. She stayed on the phone till I got home. I couldn't call this an abduction. I don't know, because you kind of lost a couple hours there.
Yeah.
So you don't know what happened. But an encounter. But I lost that time. Also, I have never fell asleep driving before or without meaning to. I'm kind of an insomniac. I don't have vivid dreams. I'm also so uncool. I never drink, do drugs, or anything interesting. I'm used to late hours because I can't say no when another nurse or aide needs help. So I stay late a lot. Oh, she's a good nurse. I don't think I fell asleep, but I pretend I did so I don't go insane. I haven't told anyone this. It scares me just thinking about it. If I did fall asleep, I could have hurt someone. If I didn't, then that's where it stops at.
Yeah. Man, that's a scary encounter.
So she left work somewhere between 1 and 2, and just, for the sake of conversation, we'll say she left work at 2, and she said halfway through her drive, so just say about 2:30 is, because she said about an hour, 40 minutes. So just say 2:20, 2:30. And so she doesn't, so about 2:20, 2:30 is when she stopped, and she said she doesn't remember anything until 4 a.m. That's quite a while to be unaware of what has happened.
Yeah.
And like she said, she wouldn't necessarily call it an abduction because she was still in the same place.
Maybe the alien helped her sleep. He knew she was sleepy, and he's like, you know what? Go to sleep. I'm going to be nice and put your car over here. You take a nap. Go night-night. Because, I mean, she said the deer was there the night before, and the alien was looking at the guy was looking at the deer. And it seems like she may have stumbled upon them. She may have just rolled up and it was there. Maybe it was observing the deer. Could have possibly just been observing the deer and decided to take it. Because, I mean, she said it was gone when she woke up, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe...
She saw the deer the night before, so...
Yeah, that's a good question. Did it take the deer? She was aware that deer was in that same spot from the night before.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, I would have gone back during daytime hours to see if the ground looked like still disturbed. Did the thing maybe do further damage to the deer? I would have been curious. I would have went back there during the day.
Another thing is she was probably out for about an hour and a half. Usually in most abduction stories, people lose hours, like hours of time. Mm-hmm. Like they, between the time, the point of interaction with, an alien and them being conscious again and aware of their surroundings, it's like hours have passed, a full day in some instances passed. So for her to have only missed like an hour and a half, maybe it just put her to sleep. Maybe it really just, it sensed that she needed sleep.
I don't know. I would have went home and checked myself.
Yeah.
Checked everywhere, make sure there was no scratches, nothing. How did she feel when she woke up? Did you wake up like super refreshed? Were you still tired when you woke up? How did she feel? I've got, other questions. I'm would be interested to know, how did you feel? I'm sure she was scared before she went to sleep. But, just, and, her being a nurse, she would understand, just assessment questions after the situation occurred. How did you feel? Did you notice anything different with how you felt outside of, yes, you were upset, traumatized from the situation, and maybe she wasn't sleepy anymore after that, but her body was tired because she had been working all those hours. She said she had put in an almost 20-hour day by the time she got off work. So even after you calm down some, your body's going to go back to being tired. What happened? Yeah. How did you feel after that? Did you check yourself when you got home? Did you look for any bruising, any type of exterior trauma to yourself? What happened?
Yeah, those are good questions. Yeah, but a lot of people, when they have been, a lot of people who said they've been abducted, they usually they don't notice anything different, but sometimes some people say that they go to the doctor and they discover there's like implants in them that aren't of this world. They're implants that the doctor can't explain what kind of implant it is. They don't understand. They don't know what it is. There was a documentary that I watched not too long ago, and this guy had an implant behind his ear. He noticed he had. He went to the doctor to get checked out after one of the times that he lost a lot of time, and the doctor noticed he had looked like a healed scar behind his ear, and they did some sort of X-ray, and they noticed that there was something in there. And his abduction was like less than a week ago, and it's already a healed scar. And he's got this implant in him. The doctor gets it out, but there's been many people who have said that there's things on them that they can't explain. So I'm wondering if she had anything that she hadn't noticed before, anything she didn't have before this situation happened, or simply she just fell asleep. I mean, because it was let's say she was gone an hour and a half. That's not very long.
But yeah, that's really big. Look for implants. Look for any signs that
marks, any scars
she was examined.
You didn't have before, or anything like that. So yeah.
What if they brought that deer back to life? And that's why it was gone.
The deer's running around somewhere. They reanimated the deer.
That would have been pretty interesting.
That's a good alien down here doing all this.
Good job.
Yeah, helping people sleep. Oh, you're just sleepy. Go night night.
Yeah,
and you get this deer. I'm gonna bring this deer back to life while you're sleeping. But
here you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, let me park your car for you.
Rocking those skinny jeans.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe it put her to sleep purposely, just to put her to sleep. It doesn't sound like she was possibly abducted, because again, that's the shortest abduction I've heard. Every time I've heard an abduction story, these people have lost hours out of their day, or full days. They fall asleep one day and the next day they're back. So, it could be anything.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's, hey, don't overwork yourself.
Yeah, either way, don't overwork yourself and sleep. Sleep, go night-night.
Yeah, don't overdo it. We need you to be safe so that you can get home safely, ma'am. That's for you.
Don't work yourself too hard to where an alien has to come and intervene.
There you go.
You're working yourself too hard when the alien's like, look here. Take your ass to sleep. I'm going to put you over here on the side of the road so you don't kill yourself or anybody else. Then I'm going to go pick up this deer and continue doing what I was doing before I was rudely interrupted by a sleep-deprived human.
Yeah, by the sleep-deprived nurse. Yes, that there you go. I need you to take a nap. Take a break. I know you guys have been working hard. You guys have been busy.
So go night-night.
I get it. I totally get it. So we're going to take the time out to get you a little nap.
Yeah, that's a good alien. I need an alien to help me take a nap.
He was a gentleman.
If that is legitimately what he did, I want that alien to help me take a nap. Give me a power nap. I need a power nap because I can't seem to fall asleep in the middle of the day. Give me a power nap, please. Because I put it in my head that I'm going to take a nap and it never happens because I fall into that rabbit hole again. I'm scrolling on Instagram and I fall into the rabbit hole.
There you go.
Or I fall into the rabbit hole of Netflix where I'm watching trash TV for hours.
There you go. So since you started talking about rabbit holes and we're talking about nurses, I'm a nurse, and previously before that I was a caretaker. I worked in group homes. I worked as a CNA. And since we're on rabbit holes, I would love for people to submit stories about ghosts that they see in hospitals, nursing homes, group homes, and all kind of settings like that. I would love for you all to send those stories. Love them. When I was at a group home, it was one group home in particular. The girls told me it was very haunted. They didn't know exactly what it was in the group home. And, at first when I worked there, I didn't quite believe it. But there were some interesting things that I saw after I was there for a while. One day, it was daytime hours. It's a really bad snowstorm. And before it got dark outside, none of us left the house. I mean, it was like emergency type travel only weather. And we looked outside in the backyard, and there was footprints that came like across the yard. This was a big house too. Came across the yard and up to the back door, as if somebody had stood at that back door area and looked in the window. And then they went around the house, and we went to each window around the side of the house and followed the footprints. And the footprints stopped at a particular patient's bedroom window. And then there were no more. Like, that was it. There were no more
They
footprints.
didn't walk away.
No, unless they walked backwards perfectly. I mean, absolutely perfectly in their footprints. There were no more. It was either they walked backwards perfectly in their footprints, or they came into his bedroom window. That window was locked, and this was not the type of person that had the capability to open his window. And we had all been in the house all day. We didn't order delivery. We didn't go anywhere. We had been there all day. So that was one weird thing that happened there. And then there was a room, and there was a particular bedroom on the other side of that house where someone came in and out of that room, and they couldn't figure out for years what was going on there. They put a mirror, decorative mirror in the hallway, and you can see it, and it was a shadow person.
You could only see it in the mirror?
That's when we were able to see it. They said for years they couldn't see. They knew something was going on in that hallway. They said it sounded like a person or something was walking up and down that hallway. And just, I don't know, they went and bought a mirror, just a decorative piece to put in that hallway, and it just happened to be a mirror. Somebody put a mirror in that hallway, and the way that mirror was angled relative to where the sofa was seated in the living room, you can sit on that sofa and you can see the mirror in the hallway, and you can see when it will walk up and down the hallway. I saw it twice. I didn't believe it at first. I was like, y'all are playing games, whatever. I don't believe y'all. And yeah, saw it twice.
Yeah, that's creepy. I would have quit my job. I wouldn't have been working at that group home anymore.
Saw it twice.
Wow. Well, so yeah, you heard T. If anybody wants to send in their experiences, just anybody, but especially we would love to hear experiences from doctors, nurses, aides, anybody who works in hospitals or group homes or healthcare,
yes.
any of those types of buildings. I'm pretty sure those buildings, especially hospitals, can be hotbeds for some strange things. So please, let us know what's happened to you, or what you've seen or experienced, or even what a family member or friend or someone, anything, as long as it's paranormal, we would love to hear it. Also, now that we're wrapping this up, please don't forget to leave us a review. And also you can contact us at Paranormal Universe. That's ParanormalYouniverse on Instagram. We got a sub on Reddit. The same name all across the board, and on Facebook. I just recently discovered there's many Paranormal Universe pages on Facebook. Ours, I actually put a link on our Instagram page directly to our Facebook Paranormal Universe, but it's Paranormal Universe, and our logo has a Yeti, a ghost, and an alien on it. But yeah. So please just feel free to hit us up. Also, our email, that's paranormaluniverse@gmail.com. All the same spelling, all lowercase letters. And thank you for listening. Thank you for joining in this week. T, you got anything to say?
Nope, keep sending those stories in, and thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, and stay safe.